I put every dollar of my retirement savings into a business. Not part of it, all of it. Plus 2 personal loans on top of that. By the time we opened the doors, Steve and I had made a decision that left us exactly one option: make it work or lose everything. So we made it work. And I want to talk about that today, not because it's a cautionary tale, not because I regret it, but because I think there are a lot of women watching this who made a similar bet somewhere along the way, on a business, on a marriage, on a move, on something. And they're sitting with the consequences of that bet right now and wondering what comes next. This video is for you. And honestly, it's for me too, because I'm figuring out the what comes next part in real time. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Valerie. I'm 62. I'm living in a camper in rural South Carolina, building income after 50 that doesn't require me to have a boss, a client, or a perfectly available schedule. Everything I share here is my own experience. It won't be everybody's experience, but it's real and it's mine. Subscribe if you want to follow along while I figure this out. So let me back up and tell you the story. Steve and I were truck drivers when we met. We ran team together, worked hard, saved money. After about 5 years on the road, I was ready for a home base. We both loved animals, dogs especially, and we decided to open a dog training business. Everyone thought we were crazy. They couldn't imagine we'd make as much training dogs as we had hauling freight. We made more. But here's the part that doesn't fit neatly into a success story. To open the business, we used everything: our savings, personal loans. There was no safety net version of this plan. It was bet on ourselves and make it work, or go back to trucking and figure something else out. We made it work. The business has been successful. We're very proud of what we've built. And I want to be clear, we're still in it. Steve's still training. We're still running it. I'm not up here telling you we failed or gave up. That's not what this is about. What I'm telling you is what it actually cost and what it taught me about why I'm building something else alongside it. So here's the reality of going all in on a business. When you pour everything into making something survive, you don't pour anything into rebuilding what you spent. You're too busy keeping the lights on, growing, keeping clients happy, keeping the whole operation running, payroll, the whole 9 yards. You tell yourself you'll rebuild the cushion later. You'll think about retirement later. Later has a way of becoming now before you're ready for it. I spent years believing retirement was something you eventually arrived at. I don't think that anymore. I think retirement is something you build long before you need it. And I didn't build it. I was too busy building everything else. I'm 62. I have no retirement savings. What I have is a business, a husband, a camper on 18 acres, and an Amazon influencer income I've been building since September of last year, 2025. That's the honest picture. Now here's the part I haven't really talked about publicly before. Running a dog training business is hard work, not just physically, but also the kind of mentally exhausting that piles up over years. Let me tell you about the clients first. Training a dog requires the whole family to participate. Consistency, accountability, follow through, showing up even when it's inconvenient, even when the dog isn't cooperating yet. What we found over years of doing this work is that a lot of clients buy training the way people buy gym memberships in January. Best intentions, and then life happens and the consistency falls apart, and somehow that typically becomes our fault. We explain it until we're blue in the face. It's in the contract. We have them sign additional agreements that make it plain, and still there's a version of this we just can't fix, which is the version where someone isn't willing to do the work. And then there are the employees, the ones who left without notice, and we had to do everything ourselves until we could replace them over and over again. The ones who trained the dogs poorly and we had to go back in behind them and retrain both the dog and the client at our expense. The ones who tried to steal our clients after they left. The ones who just didn't show up. All of that is costly in money, in time, in something harder to measure that just wears you down over the years. Now, Steve and I aren't people who complain easily. We tend to put our heads down and keep going. But there came a day when we were both just exhausted enough to be honest. We had a real conversation, and what came out of it was that we'd both been quietly feeling the same thing, and neither of us had said it out loud. We were burned out. And it wasn't because we hated the business. We were just tired of being required. That's the only way I know how to say it. Tired of being required. Tired of income that stops the second we stop. Tired of other people's effort, or lack of it, determining what our life looks like. We want to slow down. We want work that's more on our terms. We want income that doesn't require us to be physically present and emotionally available every single day. Dog training gave us a lot. It just can't give us that. So here's what I got wrong. When we made the decision to go all in on the business, I didn't have a plan for rebuilding what we spent. I had a plan for making the business work. I had a plan for the dogs, for the training programs, for the clients, for the marketing. I didn't have a plan for the day when I'd need something else and have nothing to fall back on. I thought building one successful thing was enough. I didn't think far enough ahead to ask what happens when that successful thing is no longer sustainable forever. When your body gets tired, when the clients exhaust you, when you realize you want something different and you've got nothing behind you. And to be clear, I'm not saying we're walking away from dog training. We're not. Steve is still training, we're still in it, and I'm still proud of what we've built. What I'm saying is that I needed something that could grow alongside our business. Something that doesn't stop earning the second we stop working. And that question is what started all of this. September 2025, I signed up for the Amazon Influencer Program. I make short video reviews of products people are already buying on Amazon. When someone watches one of my videos and buys, I earn a commission. No clients, no contracts, no one who has to show up consistently for it to work. And no employees, no one's participation required but mine. I've made about $9,000 this year doing this. I have over 1,400 videos on Amazon. It's not a jackpot, but it's the first income I've built that can keep working after I finish working. And it earns whether I'm having a good week or a hard one. That last part is not a small thing when you've spent years in a business that stops the second you do. I want to talk directly to the woman watching this who made a bet somewhere along the way and is sitting with the consequences of it right now. Maybe you put your savings into a business. Maybe you stepped away from a career to raise kids and now you're looking at gaps in your resume, in your retirement account, in your plan. Maybe you trusted someone with your financial future and that didn't work out the way you thought it would. Maybe you just got to 55 or 60 or 62, looked at the numbers and thought, this is not where I thought I'd be. Here's what I want you to hear. Some of us have to rise from the ashes. That's not a failure. That's a different kind of strength. The kind you only build by going through something hard and deciding you're not done yet. What I'm building right now is a real plan. It's not a backup plan, not a consolation prize. A real plan built on real tools, real income, real numbers. I started it at 62 with no savings and a business that was wearing me out. And it's working. If I can start building this now, so can you. That's the reality, not the highlight reel, not the cautionary tale, the actual version, which is messy and honest and still moving forward. I went all in on a business. It worked, and it used everything I had. I spent years building something good that also cost me more than I understood at the time. And I got to a place where I needed something more, something that could grow without requiring everything I had left to give. That's where I am. That's why this channel exists. And that's why I'm not stopping. If this story sounded a little too familiar, stay with me. Every week I'm sharing what I'm learning about building income after 50 without clients, without hype, and without pretending I have it all figured out. If that sounds like the kind of conversation you've been looking for, I'd love to have you here. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to start over? Financially, professionally, personally? I have a feeling I'm not the only one sitting here, and I'd love to know I'm in good company. Stay close. You're not done yet, and neither am I.